Sag. It's a sizzle or a
Yeah.
snake. It
And the
was Taylor Swift's birthday yesterday.
and the
Stop.
snake is a often used symbol for Scorpio sizzling its
Really?
way into Sag. Yeah.
Ah,
Even though it's a scorpion, they also say snakes are like a good
right.
symbol for it. Silent
Yeah,
killer.
I'm finding out Scorpio's got all these other little hidden, which makes sense because as the sign that, is looking at things at times, look is able to look at maybe the darker depths of things, maybe able to see what others ignore because it embraces what's maybe a little dark or scary.
Sign of
It's only
constant
fitting.
transformation and rebirth. It
Yeah.
has all these different, yeah.
I'm just saying it's kind of interesting to hear all the different forms it takes. Again, very water of it. I feel like people are always like, I know we'll get back on to talking about Sagittarius, but that has been funny to learn about, the phoenix from the ashes, the
Yeah.
Scorpio symbol, the snake as well. Um, in terms of like water, is it not sort of like evolving or like,
Yes.
shape shifting to
Yes.
fit its container or whatever the fuck they say? Anyway, folks, like a
Absolutely.
phoenix from the ashes, Sagittarius season has really risen, and now we're about to point though those arrows are heading for Capricorn, baby. Big change on the way.
Yeah.
Big change in the human calendar. Big change for Hollywood horoscopes. Heather, do we dare tell the
Yeah.
folks?
Yeah,
Is
we
now as good as
can.
time as any
Yeah, we might as well prep them.
while we have them here. So, folks, once again, your hosts, Heather Cunningham, the angel, the starlet, the just gem of all gems. This is
Oh.
what that's how she spoke about Beyonce. She said she's just a gem. And she said Beyonce's really warm and open. Interesting.
Wow. Taylor
And
likes her
which,
Virgos. She can like soften them, I
mm,
guess.
yes, she can
Blake
disarm
Lively's
them.
a Virgo, right?
Yeah, she is. You're right. Not sure what Ryan Reynolds is, but anywhoozy. Yes, folks, it's Heather Cunningham and me, Miranda Linsky. For all the other words and descriptions, we're doing a little exciting change here on Hollywood horoscopes. So maybe we should prep the folks for a little bit of house cleaning, if we will, Heather. But do not panic. We're still doing Hollywood horoscopes. Not going anywhere, baby.
Not going
Sorry.
anywhere.
Sorry,
Only
you're stuck
growing
with
bigger.
us. And stronger and rising from our ashes. No, but yeah, we're going to be continuing on, still weekly episodes. Heather and I just sort of recently had a conversation now that, we're a year into this podcast, right? This is season 2 that we're doing this podcast. And it's sort of, as we've continued, as we've gone on, we realize how much more, I guess, detailed we'd like to be with the birth charts,
Yes.
in terms of giving them a little more attention.
Yes.
And we still love, the name's not changing. It's Hollywood Horoscopes. But starting next episode, which is the start of Capricorn season, so it all makes sense, right? It's all very poetic and beautiful. We are going to be doing just one birth chart an episode. So, in keeping up with Taylor Swift's birthday yesterday and the Sag vibes, you guessed it. That means for Capricorn season and sort of this reset we're doing, all of the charts we've done previously still up for grabs, are still available to us because we
I'm
haven't done
excited
them.
about that.
That is fun. Because we haven't done them as just like a solo
In a
chart.
very
So
detailed, in-depth exploration.
more of a breakdown. We've found just as the podcasts have gone on that it's more fun to just really dive into one aspect of a chart, and we just feel like it'll just be more fun for us and hopefully more fun for you, the listener. Yeah, it's because we want to get a little more detailed with it and really take the time to explore and explain. Yeah, so that's going to be our little change up. Everything else is staying exactly the same. The concept is still there, but it's just become so much more fun for Heather and I, if I may, Heather, to
Yes.
yes, just dive deeper and get more detailed with these charts than it is to compare them and keep them both at more of a surface level so that we can squeeze both in.
Yeah.
Um, So yeah, that's going to be the new change. Now for this episode, we're wrapping up Sagittarius with a nice bow. We're sticking to our 2 celebrity format. But yes, starting next week and for Capricorn season, buckle up, baby, because we're going to just be doing one celebrity at a time. Everyone we've already done before is still fair game, and then some. So yeah, I'm excited about it, Heather. We've been talking about it for a while. Feels like Cap's the right time, starting the new year off fresh before we get too deep into this season, before we can make that change. But yes, folks, that's that. And if you're
I'm
upset,
excited.
take that up with literally anyone else. It's the holidays. I'm not
Yeah.
answering emails. Just kidding. We do hope you folks are
Don't
gonna
at
like it.
me.
We think you will. The feedback we've kind of gotten already says to me, Heather, that the folks would like to get a little deeper into it. I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, I'm really excited about it.
I am
Personally,
too. It's gonna be a good
I'm.
change.
It's gonna be fun. I'll be able to ask Heather way more annoying questions. Yeah. But yeah,
One
it was
thing I
fun.
wanted to say, I'm gonna bring up
Please.
Taylor because as I was preparing to start this, I got a text from Jordy. Shout out to beloved Jordy. Yeah, your cup. Um,
Yay. Sorry.
she sent
Sorry.
me, and I haven't been able to like fully look at what she sent me, but it's I guess a picture of a dress that she wore that had like moon and stars and stuff.
Yes.
And
I
the
meant to
other
tell you about this
day,
earlier.
I was scrolling through Instagram and I saw something where she had like a constellation like purse. And
We
I'm
must have seen the
like,
same Instagram post. That's so funny. Where people are like, is this her next album? Is she in her
well, if
astrology
she's gonna
era?
use her power to make everybody embrace the zodiac, I am so fucking about it. Like maybe this is part of Pluto and Aquarius. She knows she's tracking the planets. She's like, how do I stay relevant? No, I'm kidding. But
She
like,
has just, it is funny that you say that. And again, Heather, I really think we were looking at the same thing because I feel like I saw exactly what you're talking about. It was like a post that showed that gold clutch she was carrying. Yes,
yes, yes, it was
with
like
all the
tan or
stars aligned.
yeah,
Right. And it had like the constellations. And
yeah.
then, yes, her whole Midnight's album was very like star based. And
Uh-huh.
then her
There's so much.
Midnight's album in a few of those music videos is where she's referencing
Oh,
a
there's
lot
no
of
doubt.
astrology and
Yeah.
right, love you to the moon and to Saturn, like in the Karma music video. Her and Ice Spice both have like Saturn and the moon on like a chain, like they're connected to it.
Yeah.
She's made so many references in her a lot of her recent
Honestly,
work.
I feel like
She
so many
always has
pop
though
stars
too.
recently have like brought it up a notch though. Like Beyonce having
Yeah.
the song called Virgo, Carly Rae Jepsen's not as big, but
Virgo's
her last
groove.
album was
Yep.
all astrology
Yep.
interweaved into it. And
Mhm. It is really interesting. I noticed too, I think Taylor's been wearing like evil eye jewelry every now and
oh,
then.
cool.
Like people have been talking about like, did she do ayahuasca? Or like, people have been just kind of like noticing a amp up on her spiritual references and specifically, yes, in reference to astrology and just the planet. It's astrology. It
Doesn't she
really
have a
feels
song?
astrology.
Yeah, where she's like,
And
we'll
yes,
move to India forever and something where I don't know.
you're so right.
But yeah, it
Love you.
makes
I think that's
sense.
love you to the moon and to Saturn. Is like that
Yeah,
one.
and she
She has a
says we'll
line
move
with
to
that.
India.
I
Yeah.
forget that
I
line.
feel like she's embracing spiritual. I feel like she's on a that could be her next era.
Right. That yeah, no, I mean, and then she, with the Lavender Haze music video, which was off
Oh, there's
midnight,
no doubt. There was so much
the
Pisces.
Pisces and her and Joe's signs, her ex, like just so much. I am curious where that came from. She also, though, not too long ago went through her Saturn return, right?
Yeah, well, she's in
She's
her
34.
her second Saturn square now after the Saturn return. But yeah, so yeah, not long ago.
Very interesting.
Yeah,
I just
but
wonder.
I'm about it.
Anyway, but yeah, I'm all about her getting the mainstream public onto this shit, right?
Yeah, it can only help. It can
And
only
that's
help
also
my
why
cause.
I'm like, maybe we should have just saved Taylor for today and started over so that she can share us. Just kidding. She's busy. She's not gonna see these tags.
I'm
It's her
only going
birthday.
to be better at reading charts by the time we do her next year. It'll be the perfect timing.
And it's not like she's not gonna not be in the headlines still.
Yeah.
She's taken over the year and our lives. Okay.
Yeah,
Anyway,
there was something else
but
I was gonna say about all. Oh, her signs, Sag, Cancer, and Scorpio. I have never met anyone who has those signs and isn't into astrology. Water signs really get it, and so does Sag.
well, yeah, and she also, I agree, because literally the only other time I want to say, like, I Taylor was one of the first people that taught me, like, I remember when I first heard this was back when she sang Red, so this was quite a while ago, but like
Twin
twin
fire
fire
signs.
signs for blue eyes. And I remember not getting that reference, the twin fire signs reference at first. And then it took me a minute to be like, oh, she knows her sign and she's paying attention to like someone else's sign. And that was way before I was really into astrology. So I remember that being really impressive. Right. And then like a lot of her stuff is very fate based. And I think it's
Yeah.
really difficult for someone to be at her level of success and not be spiritual to an extent or
I
not
mean,
credit
come
it to a
on, right?
bigger.
You
I
gotta.
think to hone in on that, but it's also so interesting how recently so many people have also been discussing her and how she's on like a higher vibration and is just in it. We are watching someone on their correct vibration flow and we are watching them in real time attract everything they literally want, including this like new romantic relationship she has. It's just really fascinating stuff. It's fascinating
Yeah.
stuff. Anyway, but yeah, I love any celebrity that's gonna give a little shout out to astrology, of course. There was one more other thing too. Oh yeah, Nicki Minaj was also one of the first.
Also a Sag.
And yes, I was gonna say also a Sagittarius who like I remember she has a line like he asked me what's my sign. I said a Sag.
Yes.
I'm a star, sheriff badge, or like,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I remember
Yeah.
also being like, what's a Sag? And you were like, Sag is short for Sagittarius. And like that was when I was really early into it as well. But yeah, fire signs, I feel like get it.
Oh,
Again,
totally.
they're in tune. Like we said, it's like Sagittarius, especially, I think, is such a lucky in tune with the universe sign that it's like, yeah, why wouldn't this shit be real? Are you kidding? Look at me.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
It's a beautiful thing. I love it. I do.
It is. It
And I do. I
is.
wonder if I am interested to see what this has been about with Taylor. She has been really like
I'm ready
letting
for the
us.
Zodiac album.
Mm-hmm. Oh my God. And someone too was even like, what's she gonna call it? Sagittarius? That's an awkward name. And I'm like, we'll see, we'll see. We'll see. Anyways, and
The
with that, Heather,
Archer.
the right, which she has the song.
I
Well,
was
and
like, is that in my subconscious for a reason? Yeah, she does have a song called that.
well, and like people, love talking about how they're what and I don't think this is that far off. A lot of people claim that she has an album that never came out because that was she was writing. She's just always writing. This is another thing she said recently that I really love, and then I promise we'll move on. But it's relevant. She's a Sagittarius. Yesterday was her
It is
birthday. Come
relevant.
on.
Yeah.
But I'm like, right? Yeah, I could talk about
Yeah.
it. It's relevant, right?
It is.
But no, she does. She talks about what was I? How did she put it? There's this idea that she herself is always like, no matter if I'm heartbroken, if I'm upset, if I'm having the best day ever, I just have learned at this point. I think this was like a big reality for her, and especially with her Saturn return, to never stop creating, to just like never stop creating art. It's like she read Big Magic. It's like she
I'm
read
with you,
that book. You know
Taylor.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like she feels very like the universe will continue to reward me as long as I continue to be a vessel for it and to create
Yes.
the art that I know how to create.
Hell
Like
yeah.
truly, I just think she's someone who's like very aware that this is A, her calling, and B, like it's like not just her calling, it's like her responsibility. And she's been really discussing that recently, like the art of continuing to create and
I'm
not
getting
stop.
like emotional hearing you say that. I so
Well,
agree with that.
well, it's just the truth. It really is. It's in the whole world, in the scheme of everything we don't fucking know anything about. We do know how to be creative on one level or another. Everyone has the ability. And it is a beautiful, I love the idea of looking at creative sparks and ideas as messages
A
and
gift
gifts
from
from
the
the
source.
universe.
Yep.
I know J.K. Rowling really isn't that girl anymore. However, just to quote her when she was, describing the method of writing Harry Potter, people were like, so how'd you start out? It must have taken you years. It must have taken forever. And she was like, I was on a train and the idea popped into my head and I wrote it down on a napkin. And even when she describes it, she's like, the world of Harry Potter and Hogwarts was already, it was like it was already written. It was just my job to get it down on paper. And remember when I used to hear that, I was like, what the fuck, you pretentious ass loser. Then
No, that's
I
how it
remember
goes.
reading the, I remember reading, then, you get older and as a creative too, I feel like so many people, when you are constantly in the flow of creating, there's times where you've had this idea or a little spark of something and you're like, no, that's silly. I shouldn't, or you just don't do anything with it. And then down the line, someone else gets the same idea, right? We've talked about this a lot too, that it's like humans, why do humans get such specific weird ideas? Like, some ideas are funny, surface level, they're easy to acquire. But I think, there's so many times where it's like really niche ideas have been shared. There's this beautiful
Yeah.
idea that the universe, it's a gift. And when you look at your creativity that way, you're more inclined to fucking make it, honestly. It's not
Yeah,
like a
because there is, I
narcissistic
love the
thing.
word responsibility. Yeah, and
Yes, like
it's
it's like if we can do
it
anything as
shouldn't
humans, it's
be.
create.
I
Like that's
know.
the power right there at our fingertips. No matter if it's perfect, it's just it's a job. It's an energy that is requires birth. It's a just a really beautiful way to look at it.
I
And I
am
love that
with
she's
you.
spoken like that recently is my whole point. I do just feel like that's a big spiritual thing for her. And it's something she's only been rewarded by. And as a Sagittarius, why wouldn't she do what has not ever let her down, even
That's
when she
amazing.
thought her career was over, right? And
I
all this and
fucking
that.
love that. That's
Yeah.
amazing. I'm like emotional. Also, I
Oh,
just remembered right now that I had a dream last night where Taylor Swift, as a young child, she was like a young child, yet she was a star. Like people knew her as Taylor Swift. And I'm at home right now in Florida for the holidays. I'm at home in my family
shouts out.
childhood home, and the biggest uh source of light and the most important thing to me growing up was my summer theater camp, and I'm now near to it. And I had this dream last night that Taylor Swift was at my summer theater camp as a child, and like she had trouble like making friends and stuff, I guess because she like was Taylor Swift, but like she came to the camp anyway because it was like near and dear to her and like a source of joy and like a really bizarre dream. And you know how dreams are, I'm not like totally
Wow.
explaining it well because it wasn't like linear and like uh but
But there was
yeah,
an energy
isn't that
there. And you
wild?
had it on her birthday.
That is so weird.
Well, and I also just like, I think it's been a really, again, I said we weren't going to make this whole opening about her. It just feels like
Yeah,
it's
and
important to do so at this point because now what are we going to do? 5 minutes of some bullshit that's not her? No. But whether you are a fan or not, this bitch, her energy, okay, its reach, its literal abundance of energy that she has, especially from this tour, right? This is really, she was just on Time. For
right.
she was just on the cover of Time magazine as person of the year.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
kind of and I again want to be so clear. I get the frustration of why people are like, "Oh, what the fuck are we doing?" However, personally, I don't expect Time to ever really, or I just don't think if people are really looking for Time magazine to be like the blueprint of doing the right thing, we have to remember, folks, it's an entertainment. It's not right. Anyways. I just like a lot of people are cranky, rightfully so, that like Time put like a celebrity up there when there's just a lot of bullshit in the world happening. But I'm also like, yeah, to be quite honest, I never expected Time to put the bullshit on the cover of their magazine, right? That's
Yeah.
not to me their track record. I do see the frustration. However, I'm sure, unfortunately, Time probably picks their person of the year probably almost halfway through the year, if I'm being honest, or at least, probably with a good old gap left. And if we're really being honest in terms of like, God, she's just been everywhere. And I know I'm a biased fan, but and if anything, as a biased fan, I'm like, stop putting her everywhere. They're gonna turn on her like they did Dolly. It's like
Right.
happened with Dolly Parton during her career too. It's like she was everywhere, that then she just started becoming hated because it was just like she's everywhere.
It's
And
natural. I
I'm
know.
worried about that happening to our sweet girl, but I do think there's, some vengeance happening with the fact that not too long ago she was in hiding, right? So, and this was like her biggest
Yeah.
tour since that one, yada
Well, and
yada.
Dolly
But
Parton will be an icon till the day she died. Like, I
right,
mean,
and she got through that
there's
too.
ebbs and flows
So
with everything,
please.
but yeah.
Exactly. And I think Taylor knows that better than anyone. And even just like reading her Times interview is my whole fucking point to this. Like, I loved when she brought up, because I really was like, it kind of was her fucking year. I mean, from the start of the year started with her announcing the tour, essentially, or that's how we ended the year previously. I forget when she officially announced the tour, but it's like, the whole year started with her tour, and then it just ended not too long ago. She's like just in, and then has continued to like dominate. She's put out so many re-releases just this year alone, so many things. Just she's everywhere. You really
Yeah.
can't escape her energy. And then in the Times interview, she's talking about how this summer was sort of like the girl summer. I forget exactly what she said, but in terms of like the Barbie movie coming out, right? And like what Greta Gerwig did. And then also like the Beyonce tour as well. It was Beyonce's world tour, it was Taylor's world tour. Barbie was huge. I every concert at Madison Square Garden I've seen in the past year was like Haim or
Right. Boy
Paramore or
Genius.
Boy Genius. Like I just feel like it was such a like
Feminine.
been a time for the girls. Yeah. And I love that Taylor said that, because I think that's like, I think a lot of girly pops, feminine energy is very embracive of universal energy and very nurturing to universal and spiritual ideals. And it just feels like astrology is kind of on the rise, because like the girlies are really on the rise.
Yeah,
Not that
because
the
we're
girlies haven't been
collectively
on the rise.
embracing emotion and more nuanced thinking, it gives wave to. Yes.
There's just like like I really, all this to say, I'm so sorry. Do we really think masculine energy was gonna like bring us all closer in spiritually together and on the same vibration? No, I think so much of it is feminine energy. And yes, Beyonce up there being like Virgo's groove, Taylor out here wearing constellation bags. Like, I don't know. I feel like, yes, the overall human collective is on a new level. Specifically, I feel like the girlies are just like getting it. I know that sounds so much more vague than I mean it, but I just do feel like feminine energy. And what's so beautiful about feminine energy is that it's like not here to like destroy masculine energy. It's just here to share the space.
Totally.
It just has never really been allowed to share the space.
No.
Feminine
Yeah.
energy is, that's again, it's feminine energy. It's not here to take control and like overpower and get aggressive. It's just here to like
We can all hug
flow
and be sweet
alongside.
and
You know
confide
what
in
I'm
one another
saying?
and
Like,
get
I
deep.
really just feel like, yes, there is an up leveling, but I feel like that up leveling is being initiated by feminine energy. And again, when I say feminine energy, folks, I don't mean boy girl. I want to be clear that like feminine energy on a spiritual universal level is
Yeah.
like flow. That's exactly what it is. It's sort of like going off the energy of like more of the moon, right? Instead of like so much of like the sun. We're not ruled by like a 24-hour clock. Ebbs and flows happen, yes, on a day-to-day basis, but much bigger spiritual ebbs and flows happen like on that moon calendar, so to speak, or 30 days. I don't know. I just want to be clear that like feminine energy as like a flow, as a vibe, is what I more mean, in the sense of like it just, yeah, it feels like it's time, and
It
it's and it's
is.
and it's arrived. And this was just like a huge year for the girlies. It was
Mm-hmm.
just like a huge win for the girlies. I don't know,
Yes.
the
Yes.
friendship bracelets, the unity, not just of Taylor, of course, but I just, yeah, the Barbie, the girlies all being like, "Hi, Barbie," like everyone dressed up for that. Oh my
Mm-hmm.
god, oh my god, it just was a beautiful, beautiful year for a lot of stuff. I don't know.
Yeah.
I need to shut up,
And
but
it was a
like,
big
yeah,
all in the astrology realm, everyone couldn't stop saying that it was like the year of Venus, which is the feminine planet in astrology. So
Men are from
hello.
Mars.
Yeah.
Women are from Venus.
No, literally, it's the masculine archetype and the feminine. So it was the year of Venus. And next year is the fucking year of Aquarius and Pisces, because that is where the big planet action is happening. But
So you're
that's
saying next year's our year, our
oh
literal year, Heather? I did not realize it was the year of Venus.
I
We're
mean,
gonna have to
yeah,
dive a little more into that. But
especially the summer, which is when all that
all
shit
this
was
shit
mainly
was at a
happening,
high.
because Venus was retrograding through Leo for like ever the whole summer. But no,
So the
there's
girlies
been,
were on fire.
but also there was the eclipses were in Taurus and Scorpio and
Right.
Libra, which are, Taurus and Libra are both Venus rule. Yeah, there's a lot of reasons why astrologers also say it was like the year of Venus. So it's all on point. It
Holy
all makes
shit.
sense. It's all energetic.
Wow. Heather, I'm so happy you mentioned that. That's huge.
I couldn't have said it if you
That's
didn't.
huge.
Yeah.
I don't know why I haven't heard that yet. I'm sure you've mentioned it 1,000 times, but
Oh
like,
no.
I don't know why that just really clicked for me. Because I don't think Taylor, I read the Times article and I don't think she calls it like the year of Venus, but she's the one who made me think
Times
of it.
didn't make it about
I don't
astrology.
think so. Maybe but now I'm like worried. Alex will let us know.
No.
But I'm like worried that Alex is like, it's literally right here in the byline, or it's like, it's in bold under
No,
this
no. I
photo. Just
really
kidding.
think it's just the niche astrologers I follow
No,
that are
yeah, that's
saying that.
really fascinating
But it's
though.
true.
Taylor is so in the flow, whether she likes it or not, it would appear. And
Yeah.
then, yeah, look at everyone she's inspiring. She's got the Swifties are going to make everyone turn into astrology loving bitches, whether they like it or not.
I'm
No,
for
I'm
it.
just kidding. Yeah, I'm excited. And with that, Heather, I know that this is our last episode of doing 2 charts for now. Again, I want to prep the listeners. If it doesn't work, we'll go back. Hey,
Yeah,
hey,
yeah.
relax. But I am excited to. I'm happy we're still doing 2 for Sag because again, as we've always discussed, Sag is loaded. It's loaded with the divas, loaded with some very fun charts. So not the end of the world that we are doubling up on it. And then again, we'll have the opportunity to always circle back now. Again, it's like the Taylor Swift era surprise songs start over in 2024
Yes.
instead of the Hollywood horoscopes guest list. But with that, Heather, I am excited to do our last of the 2 chart comparisons. Yeah, and with that, shall we get into it?
Let's.
As always, Heather, I get excited about every celebrity I find out is that sign, but the Sages are just sort of in their own league, a league of their own, if you
Oh my
will.
God.
They really just are always, it's always like, yeah, should have guessed that was a fire sign. Or like it's always kind of like, yeah, they are Sag, aren't they? Without even if I know the littlest thing about them, Sages are they pack a punch in the best way. It's why we love it. They
It's
do love it.
unreal. It's really unreal.
And
And
speaking of packing a punch or
yeah,
a kiss,
yeah. So I thought he was in Kiss, but he wasn't. But anyway, I Black Sabbath.
explain.
No, he was
Oh my
of
God,
that,
I
like,
said
Kiss
kiss.
was like inspired by
That's right. That's
that's Gene
right.
Simmons, but we will be
It
covering
is Gene
Ozzy
Simmons.
Osbourne, the Ozzy Osbourne. Ozzy.
Oh, I really said kiss.
No, I did the
We'll leave
same
that
thing,
in.
and then my mom
Why
was
did you
like
think it was
helping
in
me get set
Simmons?
up, and she's like, he's not Kiss.
Bitch.
Like,
She's literally said bitch.
yeah.
Don't put some fucking respect on Ozzy's name. All the
Yeah, yeah.
respect to Kiss. I think I was thinking Ozzy Osbourne was. I don't know why. That is so funny.
No,
Okay.
I thought the
Anyway,
same
Heather,
thing because it was that
we're on the
era
same
of the
wavelength.
crazy Aries hair.
Kiss just had
Aries
like their
ladies.
farewell show at Madison
Oh,
Square Garden in New York the other night. Um, and I remember in my mind being like, someone like went to a restaurant and they were like, I saw Gene Simmons, and I'm like, how would anyone know what they look like without makeup? And then it made me, and I immediately went like I don't think I know what Ozzy Osbourne looks like without the makeup. He wasn't ever wearing it.
yeah. He's known
Oh,
for his
that's
like
funny.
glasses and his long hair, but
Right. He's that's so, and like didn't he eat like Like,
A,
didn't he
a
snort?
live bat on stage?
Oh, he ate that, which was like when Maddie Healy was doing, eating the raw meat on stage, and people were
Oh,
like, "What a freak!" I
he's a
was like,
modern day
no,
rock
yeah,
star.
he's a performance artist. Haven't you heard? No, but yeah, and I think Ozzy Osbourne like snorts the Dirt, that show that came out on Netflix was like a book. And Ozzy Osbourne, there's like a chapter where he's in it, and they like put this in the scene and in the Dirt or whatever. Or maybe it's just, yeah, anyway. And I think it's a the Dirt is about shit. Monty Crew, I
Motley Crue?
think. Motley Crew.
I know all
Let
about this
me
because my parents are obsessed,
I've
but
literally had 2 sips of beer. And normally I never drink on the pod, and now the listeners know why. No, yeah, I also my mom is like an 80s headbanger. Anyway, apologize. Ozzy Osbourne snorted a fucking row of ants. Like snorted them. It's like he really was the character he was on stage, I think. Because
oh
this
my
was not on
God.
stage. Like he just did it like at the pool. Yeah. So
Wow.
anyway, he's quite a
That's
fiery son of a
funny.
bitch. Go on,
Yeah,
Heather,
I'll
please.
say.
I'm done.
Well,
I'm done.
he's so interesting. I mean, I mostly know him from his reality show,
Right.
The Osbournes, which was
Same.
very popular when we were growing up, and I was all
And I
over
was
that
watching
shit.
that for Kelly.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it was fascinating, but like
Right.
I read his whole biography before, or, biography.com, like 3 paragraphs, before we started recording. And yeah, what an interesting person. And first of all, he's a Sagittarius sun, Capricorn moon, Scorpio rising. And there's a 2 hour documentary that came out recently celebrating his whole entire life. And it's called The 9 Lives of Ozzy, or like The 9 Lives of Ozzy Osbourne or something. And
Right.
I'm like, here we go again with this Sagittarius Scorpio thing and the constant transformation. And like, the
Right.
fact that his documentary about his whole entire life is called The 9 Lives and he has Scorpio
Right.
and Sag, I'm like, it is so a thing. Taylor Swift with her eras, Scorpio Sag, like it's such a thing.
Right.
So
These dark artists. And
yeah,
Taylor
but
Swift's such a dark art. Go on, go on.
so he yeah, like grew up, was bullied in school, had dyslexia, really struggled, was like failing. Uh he quit school at 16 and got into trouble with like substance abuse and crime, and then got arrested for burglarizing and went to prison. And then when he got out of
Oh.
prison, he was still fairly young and he was like, I think I want to do music. And he became a vocalist for a band called Earth, which is funny with his Capricorn moon, and then got
Mm-hmm.
into Black Sabbath, and the rest is herstory. But he's very known for, yeah, doing crazy ass shit on stage, like eating a live
Right.
bat. I think, like, there was something with raw meat at one of his shows. And
Yeah.
yeah, we know him as being crazy, but then he became like a family man, but was still like a
Right.
rock star. And it was really funny seeing the show, The Osbournes, because I guess people got a kick out of watching this like superstar rock star who eats a
Be
live
a
bat on
dad.
stage going and taking out the trash.
Right.
So yeah, quite an interesting fella. I definitely see the Scorp rising with the darkness and the he's struggled with substance abuse his whole entire life. I'm sure that he does
Right.
have a lot of demons and emotions and whatnot.
It's
But
also
also,
something like, yeah, at that level of stardom too. I think it's, the money you get. A lot of artists, not a lot, I shouldn't
yeah,
say, but
well,
a lot
and
of
your life
times
is
that
so controlled by management, and you're not like
right.
you become a product rather than an artist a lot of times, and drugs are
Yep.
constantly in your face. It makes sense. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and then you just no, please. And then you just have like the money to like afford really good
Yeah.
drugs.
Yeah.
Because I was just got into a huge rabbit hole of a Fleetwood Mac um
Yeah, I want to
documentary, and it's
watch
like
that.
I'll send you some links
She's
because
a
I got
Gemini, I think.
obsessed. Stevie Nicks is a Gemini,
Yeah.
and that makes a lot of sense because some of their biggest hits are hers. Anyways, but yes, it is
Yeah.
just like, and the way she was talking about it was like, yeah, like, Lindsay and I went from being broke to like not sure how we were going to make rent to quite literally like millionaires combined by the end of the year. Like that was how drastically Stevie
Holy
was,
shit.
it was Taylor's oldest time was literally quit her job waitressing to join Fleetwood Mac and go on tour. And then talks about how like, and then we just had money to spend on drugs. And if you're buying drugs, you're doing drugs. And like,
Right.
I think that's, when so many people are like, if I would get famous, I would never blow my shot like that. And I'm like, I just can't imagine. I can't imagine sometimes that level of like, yeah. And also not even by management and stuff. The people who love you and are the ones paying you essentially in getting you your fortune and fame and riches also kind of look at you as like I want a picture or I want your autograph. Like they also look at you as like this thing. Um, this is why I shouldn't be famous. Don't get me famous, folks. I'll turn to the drugs, I will. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I just
Yeah.
my heart has lightened a little bit with that over the years. I think I used to always judge people in the spotlight and then you realize it's like a tale as old as time and now I think there's such a more psychological understanding and I'm
Oh,
older
totally.
and I'm just like god, yeah, what that world is, you know. And a lot of times people are like they choose it and I'm like I don't think anyone really knows. No one's ever outright like choosing to not have their humanity anymore just because
Yeah.
they're chasing something they love. And,
Yeah.
I don't know. I just do think that
100%.
we got to be a little more human with it, folks. Anyway. And I do think it is funny because like I feel like watching the show, there were so many sweet Ozzy Osbourne moments, if I remember, or like he's very warm. I want to say
Yeah.
I th- like I do. Don't get me wrong. I do think he's a character on stage for sure. Black Sabbath, Ozzy Osbourne, the whole thing. But it's always that's why it's extra fascinating to see that person at home like in their pajamas, right? And
Yeah.
he does a good job of like authentically being both, like
Yeah.
Ozzy
Yeah.
Osbourne and then like a funny like dad. You
Yeah.
know, I
I
don't know.
wonder if there's like a certain fearlessness that accompanies Sagittarius energy. And I'm working through this thought as we're talking. But yeah, the Saturn and Capricorn is the energy of like restriction and in a lot of ways like fear because it's restriction. And
Right,
Jupiter in Sagittarius is the opposite. So it makes sense that there's something to Sagittarius and like fearlessness.
right,
And I mean, with Ozzy, I think it's also like rebelliousness, which is more
right.
Aquarius. Uh, but yeah, I don't know. To me, the Black Sabbath persona and the doing ridiculous stuff is very I think it's admirable and very sad to be like,
Well, I was gonna say, I feel like a lot of the sorry, Heather, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to
oh
cut you
no,
off.
yeah, no, just to like
Just got me excited. Like
go
I do feel
to
like a lot of
the
the Sag
craziest. Yeah.
musicians, right, are sort of these characters. Even Nicki Minaj, like
Uh-huh. I was just gonna
and I
say,
and
even
it's
Miley with her fucking wrecking ball, like they take
even
risks.
Taylor with her
Yeah, oh yeah.
eras, right? Like even if it wasn't these big bombastic like characters so to
Yeah.
speak, it was like she still was like like constantly changing like her theme, right, to
Yeah.
like. And I think in that way it was a character for her, like her album. I do think a lot of like when her whole aesthetic is red to promote her red album, like there is a lot of like getting to play this character but it's for this art. And like I don't know, I do like a lot of the Sages do things very artistically big. It like it in what feels like in a way that they're expressing themselves, but it feels like every Sag musician at least feels like a character of themselves, so to speak. And
Yeah.
again, I think a
Yeah.
lot of that could also be protectiveness. It is to hold on to their humanity and their insanity and their normalhood. And like I know Ariana Grande is not a Sagittarius, but she talks about this too. That like the ponytail and the over the top. It's same with Dolly again. And so I do wonder how many of it is so that it's like that way when these people are being really mean to me, it's
Right.
like you can almost be like they're being mean to my character. I think it's a huge
Yeah.
form of self-protection, but the Sages are like top tier with it. They really are like they are consistently sort of characters of themselves. And I'm like, well, you're such
And
big
larger than
personas.
life,
And
which
then you
is
get,
so
right,
Sag.
you're such big personas. You get these huge, big career roles. You're this huge person in our society. It's only smart that like you protect yourself on some level. I don't know, like it is
Yeah.
interesting. It's interesting.
Yeah,
I wanted to
totally.
point that out. You made me think of that.
Yeah,
But I'm like,
no,
oh,
that it is
not that they're
interesting.
like divas either. I just more mean like they're all
No.
big.
Yeah, yeah.
Christina, Brittany,
Uh-huh,
Miley,
uh-huh.
um, who
Oh,
else?
there's the most pop
Like every
stars
time.
ever. Nikki, yeah,
Taylor,
it's
Judd
insane.
Apatow.
Stephen
He is a pop
Colbert.
star to us. Right. But yeah, it is
um,
just, yeah, it's funny. Sorry, go on, Heather.
yeah. Uh yeah, and this chart it's interesting that the majority of stuff is in the first and second house, which deals with
Interesting.
identity and like security. It's Aries and Taurus. So it's like earth security and also power of identity. Um and it does
Okay.
seem like he's struggled a lot in his life and has had to discover his internal power again and again and again,
Right.
and was obviously put in the public. And he does have Saturn conjunct the midheaven, which is the career public point, and Pluto up there as well, which is like the fate planet. It's the last planet. It's very powerful. um but and Neptune in the 11th, which is points to music. But for the most part, it's the individual houses that are at play. And I think he has had to do a lot of internal work time and time again
Yeah.
to journey on. So, oh, but
Interesting.
Jupiter conjunct Mars, he does have an expansive, so like when he goes to assert himself, which is Mars, it
Right.
easily is amplified and expansive. So that's cool. And Capricorn, which is a very ambitious moon placement, and the moon's right there
Mm.
too.
Well, Black
Yeah.
Sabbath was like, it was like, I want to say that was like maybe one of the first bands. And if he listens to the podcast this week, I'm sure he'll have something to say about it. My dad, in terms of like harder, like, I'm going off
Yeah.
the rails. Like I don't know. I just feel like to me, I remember like my dad would always do like I am Iron Man. Like it was like I
Right.
think they were really influential for him in terms of like, I don't really remember him listening to any other band that would have been like that dark seeming or, like grunge, but that like, it's like mainstream grunge. I don't know. It's really fascinating. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
they
And
embrace their darkness, right? And
totally.
it's
And
fun, but it's like fun. And
yeah. Well, and
you
I
have a
was
party when you
talking
listen to them.
about, yeah, I was talking about Aquarius being the rebel and how he's so rebellious and also very innovative. Like we were thinking he's in Kiss, but I actually I think Black Sabbath was before, and like Metallica, like notes them as an influence, and all these other, like I think
Right.
that they're actually trailblazers, Black Sabbath and Ozzy Osbourne. And now as I'm looking at the chart, Uranus, Aquarius's planet, is in direct opposition to Jupiter, Mars, and the moon all next to each other, which is actually a very powerful aspect and a very powerful surge of Aquarian rebellious innovative energy. So
Interesting.
really cool
Made a
chart.
living out of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Really
I
cool
love it.
guy.
Didn't conform.
Ozzy, help me get into reality TV.
Ozzy, baby. Come on the pod. Get us some hookups to the scene. Get us some backstage passes to you, baby. We want the behind the curtain exclusive VIP. All right,
Yeah, I want to
we
see
gotta
your
move on.
soft Scorpio side.
I'm like, I'm gonna have another sip of beer and fall out of my chair, Heather. No, yeah, Ozzy's such a fun one. Like, again, it was when we discussed like, I'm thinking about doing this person, I'm thinking about doing this one. I'm never shocked. Like even the name Ozzy
Yeah.
Osbourne, like even the name is Sagittarius. You know what I mean? Like it's just,
Yeah. I guess kids
I'm
gave
never
him that
shocked.
nickname in grade school.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
Um, and
It's
with that,
such a great
Heather,
name.
it
I'm
is.
gonna blow my nose.
By all
Sorry.
means,
We'll
Heather,
edit
do
this
not
out.
apologize. Yes, Heather. And with that, speaking of fun Sagittarius names, another one or the next one we will be covering, Also, one of those names that's just like effortlessly cool. Got that from her dad a little bit, we can admit. Literally the last name, Zoe Kravitz. And now this one is not obviously like what Zoe Kravitz does. She's put out music. I know. I
Has
don't know
she?
if she's I actually don't know if she's ever put out like her own, but Zoe Kravitz was a one of the credited like writers of Lavender Haze,
It's so
which was
interesting. I know
Taylor's,
when you told me that, I was like, whoa.
which was so random. And that is truly my favorite song off that album. So that was really cool and exciting. Not to say that I just didn't know Zoe, because like I know Zoe from seeing, I thought she was so good as Catwoman in Batman, or the most recent Batman, but also like Big Little Lies, that HBO show with Reese. She's so good
Yes.
in it.
Oh my God. Love.
A
And
really
that
great
character,
actress.
yeah, she is. I especially in that, I fucking love that show. And she's so
Yeah.
funny in it. But her character in that show, I remember when it first came out, I would tell Christian and Jake, this character is a Virgo. And looking at this chart right now, like obviously it's Sag season. We're covering her. She's a
Right.
Sag sun. But
Right.
I'm like, whoa, Virgo moon. Her
Yep.
character in Big Little Lies, such a Virgo. I don't know. She
Right.
gives me Virgo-ness in a way. So
She was able to
I'm
like tap into
I'm
it. That
validated that
was
she has Virgo moon.
right. No, yes. And with that, Heather, thank you for reminding me. Yes, Zoe Kravitz is a Sagittarius sun, Virgo moon, Libra rising. So she's got that fire, earth, and
Got that
air.
charisma and charm also, the
I was
Libra.
gonna say the Libra charm.
I know. It's kind
She's
of
also
annoying,
just such a
honestly.
little. I know. Sorry, Heather. Apparently, I feel that. No, I'm just kidding. I do though. Like, she is. She's also just like such a little cutie. And like dresses so fun. Like her style is just she's like effortlessly cool girl. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And like so is fucking Lenny Kravitz. Like
Yeah.
they're just both like the Kravitz are cool, man. Like they are
Yeah.
just like they embody what just feels like I've never been like that person's so down to earth. I've never it's like such a fun thing to look at them and be like, they just seem so down to earth while they're like decked with all these with all like,
Yeah.
these rings and the accessories. Like they just are like she's such a fashionista in her own right. And then to find she just snuck in on Lavender Haze like that. One of the
Hmm.
biggest and like her and Taylor Swift are friends. They get photographed together all the time. But like that was so cool. That was just so cool that Zoe Kravitz was on there. Um,
Yeah.
and with that, Heather, yeah, when you grow up, like, not to say Zoe is a Nepo baby, but respectfully, kinda. But then you see, like, there's a handful of Nepo babies that I'm like, yeah, but you deserve it. you
Right.
should, you
Yeah.
should you should get to be a Nepo baby, actually. Like, Zoe has been in the game long enough. She's proven her place here. Same with Miley. Miley is one of I think my favorite
Oh,
Nepo baby.
absolutely.
Just saying. But yeah, I like those two, I'm like, yeah, no, it's okay. Actually I've never had an issue with nepotism before. um but with that, so I think there's naturally a lot like you learn about the world you're entering when not only have you had someone who loves you and is on your side, who's been through it before, literally her own father, like it's like in her blood, I think, too. She's the daughter of Lenny Kravitz, and with that, it's like she still, I feel like, is in her own lane. Does that make sense? Like
Yeah.
Zoe Kravitz is very much Zoe Kravitz now. Like I don't find myself, just like when I see Miley, I don't catch myself thinking of Billy Ray and his thoughts and like his attachment. Zoe's sort of done that for me too, where it's like it's Zoe Kravitz, not Zoe Kravitz, Lenny Kravitz's daughter. It's not like, oh yeah, Miley Cyrus, Billy Ray. It's just like it's Miley Cyrus. It's
Oh
Zoe
yeah.
Kravitz. Like she's really paved her own way. And with
Totally.
that, Heather, this chart, little bottom left heavy, if I'm saying that right.
Similar to Ozzy. Yeah. Yeah.
Bottom left heavy. Am I
Yeah.
saying that right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
it's like a bit busier, but then it also feels like there's just a lot of commotion. But now again, I know how to, I feel like, look at it because like all of her, she's got like a clumps of all these things over here in the bottom left. And then like the top right of her chart is a little more spaced out. There's still some action going on, but it's like all of her stuff feels like down bottom left and a little bit
Well, And
Sorry,
she
go
has a
ahead.
lot of, no, you're absolutely right. And I want to build on what you're saying and say that there's a lot of placements here that are in the spots of a natal chart that you would attribute to inheritance from your parents or your ancestors or stuff like that. So the IC
Uh-oh.
at the bottom of the chart, you see how it says
Yes,
IC, and I always talk about the
I
midheaven, which
do.
is the MC at the top of the
Mhm.
chart. That is like public persona career. IC is the
Right.
opposite. It's like emotions, your inner world, your home, your upbringing, where you came from, your ancestors. So a lot of times if like yeah, the your history or your parents or things that happened in your past that affect you are major, then you'll have a lot of planets near the IC, which Zoe has, Saturn, Neptune, and
Right.
Uranus, which are all, well, Neptune and Uranus are outer planets. Saturn is like an in-between planet, but still, they're like the more, it's not the personal planet. So there's a more faded quality to them right on the
Right.
IC. And then Jupiter in the eighth, the lucky planet, the eighth house, they also say is like inheritance from your parents. Um,
That's
so
wild.
yeah, so that's super interesting. And
That is really
then
interesting.
Venus and Pluto together shows an emphasis on like beauty and art and power in that realm. Uh
She's so pretty. Sorry, I'm looking at her picture really quick,
yeah,
but
she's gorgeous. And then Sun
I forget who
conjunct
her mom is.
Mercury, a good communicator, good with language, good at writing, so that makes sense too.
Yes. Well, and also like you said, I think it's really interesting that the character she plays in Big Little Lies, because like if you have you seen the second season as well, not that I'll spoil anything for the,
No, I've only seen like the first
well,
episode
her
of the
growth,
second.
her contrast in the
Oh.
second season is as compared is really interesting,
Oh,
and
really?
it's fun to sort of watch her character like snap a little bit, I should say, respectfully, or like
Oh.
get a little less grounded, if you will. Like I think she really taps into, yeah. Anyways, it's just, yeah, she is, and I forget who Zoe's mom is. I want to look her up really quick. Because I want to say
Ooh,
her
I'm
mom
not
was like a
sure.
model.
Oh,
Zoe,
that would make sense.
I just can't remember her name. Lisa Bonet, Bonet. Am I saying that right?
Huh.
Maybe her mom wasn't a model. Why did I think? I mean, her mom's gorgeous. She looks just like her, so no wonder I was like, her mom's a model. But
Right.
I just forget like where, like how they,
Yeah.
like Lenny and her mom. Doesn't matter. I just wanted to look that up really quick. But yeah, I don't know. I just she's fire in a very not, I don't want to say controlled way, but I do find the Virgo moon not to be an interesting source of, like, again, Zoe Kravitz isn't necessarily, not that she doesn't sing, but she's not, that's not her like bread and butter.
She's not
And even
flashy, I don't think. She's not like,
that's the word I'm looking for. Thank you.
yeah,
Yeah.
in a typical fire sun way. She's not.
Not that that's a bad or good thing, but
No,
like
no, not at all.
I feel like
I think
here we
I can
go
be
out.
flashier with my Leo rising. And yeah, it's
My, I don't know what it is. You'd think my Tauro rising could
Aries
lock it up.
Venus.
Something's going on, but I love a little flash. But no, but I feel like that's just it. You get Zoe Kravitz in like a, behind closed doors, a comfy, safe setting. We're in the living room, right? We're having some wine. I feel like she'll let it rip a little
She'll
bit.
talk
Like
shit
that's
and
just it.
yeah.
Like she reserves that for like, you know, it's just interesting. She is because it's not that she doesn't give fire, but her Virgo moon, Libra rising, that's really interesting. I feel like it keeps her Sag not like in check or in line, but just a little more like, I think a lot of like it feels like a lot of the flame for her Sag fire is like through the art that she does, if that
Yeah.
makes sense. Like I feel
Yeah,
like a
yeah.
lot of her Sag sun gets its fulfillment through the jobs that she's working. I really
Yeah.
feel like the art comes first for her.
Yeah.
Again,
Yeah.
that is kind of the beautiful thing about Nepo babies. It's like we can all sit here and be angry that a Nepo baby got a great opportunity, but like we'd also all be bitching if they just sat there and just like didn't do anything because they didn't have to. And I always do find a little like, I don't know. What, this world isn't easy even if you do have a daddy in it, like, or if your parents are part of it. So
No, it's
to me,
true.
a lot, she just does really, she really pegs me and stands out to me as like an artist before just like a famous person, if that
Yeah,
makes
very
sense. Like Zoe
Virgo.
Kravitz to me gives art,
Yeah.
respectfully.
Yeah, yeah.
And with that, Zoe, come on the pod. Tell us about Big Little Lies season 3. Just kidding. I don't think that's happening. But I wanted to.
I know.
If I
Oh,
say
what
it
a
enough
great
into the universe, it
show. What
will.
a
It
great
is great. It's a fun
show.
one. I really like
Also,
it.
it's really rare that I feel like Libra rising is such an attractive rising sign also. I'm just going to add
Yeah.
that.
It's a charming sign, no matter its placement. So it makes sense that like it
Well, they
presents
say the
itself as
rising says something about your appearance, which
mm,
at first I wanted to like reject that because I'm like, how can that be? But it's like true. There's something in, I don't know.
Libra risings are just hot.
They are.
Zoe's
Yeah.
hot.
Taurus rising too. They're both Venus
Thank you,
ruled.
Heather. I'm like, and let's not forget Leo rising. But that one's like, duh. No, all due
They just
respect.
have good
You
hair.
didn't need. I feel. Well, I'm like Leo risings don't need to hear that. It'll
They
go to their Leo
don't.
rising head.
Don't boost my ego. Um
This
anyway,
was a really fun one, Heather.
it was.
RIP to us doing 2 at a time, but I'm really looking forward to getting into a lot of the nooks and crannies of like dropping to just one. And again, Zoe Kravitz can still be on the list for next Sag season, as can Ozzy. Don't fret. But with that, I'm just loving this.
Me
I'm loving
too.
this season. We're hanging up Sag. I can't believe we're already at the end of Sag.
I know. God, it
Unbelievable.
flew by this whole
It
year.
really did. It always does that. I feel like the moment again too, I think that's a huge part of like your Saturn return, for example, is like, okay, you got a little taste of how this ship moves when you're not in the school setting, right? When like the energy of your
Yeah.
day isn't about like just the week to week events of
When
you
you're
see, I feel
fucking
like you see
adulting.
life in more of an aerial view.
Mm-hmm.
You see and feel the time move.
Mm-hmm.
Um, which is what makes it all that much more special and important, right?
Yeah.
And that's why you just like keeping up with the movement. Nothing slows down my year a little bit and makes me catch my breath than like paying attention to this shit.
Mm-hmm.
Seriously. And like the energy we're in. Nothing also makes any situation a little easier to get through when it feels a little rough or sticky than knowing that like a flow is on the way from this ebb or like a flow is coming after this ebb, you know?
Hell yeah.
It's just a beautiful time, Heather, and I do love it.
It
It's lucky
is. And I
Sag
love
season,
you.
baby.
Oh,
We're just allowed to revel in it, aren't we?
we are.
Folks, listeners, reflect, right? We're at the end of the year for our human calendar where it's coming to a close. There's a reflection that comes with that, but don't forget to relax. Have a little fun with it. It's just life after all. I gotta go, Heather. Oh my God. No more letting me have a single, not even a fourth of a beer. And I'm like, you know what I'm saying, Heather? Oh my
And I'm
God.
sick,
But I
so I'm
do.
just like, please
Yeah,
take
Heather's
it
sick,
away.
so I am having a beer to consult her.
I'm
Oh, I
drinking
love you,
wine
Heather.
because for whatever reason, when I took a break from alcohol, I got sick. What's that about?
You can't be taking breaks from alcohol, folks. I'm just kidding. It's the holidays. We have to be drinking through them.
Anyway,
Heather,
um,
I just love you so much.
I love you
And
so much.
I know that it's gonna be a good old Capricorn. Did we want to? I'm sorry. Did you want to?
There's one thing
I
that's
feel like I'm
not
trying to end
even
this way too soon. Yeah, please.
there's very little
Let me
going
stop.
on this week, like transit
The universe is
wise,
like, I'm
but
on holiday break.
yeah, it's so funny. That's so funny. Um, but there's one little thing on Monday, December 18th. So Mercury's in retrograde as it is like 2 to 3 times a year. It's happening currently. That's why my Zoom got fucked up at the beginning of this. Anyway,
The
uh,
communications. Yes, yes, yes.
hello. But so on Monday, December 18th, Mercury, which is in retrograde, will form a trine to Jupiter, the lucky planet of Sag. Jupiter's currently in Taurus. And you know, they they say it's very conducive to communication and, you know, Jupiter is very broad scope, sees higher heights. So it's a good time, a good day to like plan and think about your New Year's resolutions and goals for next year and whatnot. But yeah, they say it's conducive to negotiations and talks as well, but don't sign any contracts until after Mercury is done retrograding in January. That's what they say.
Okay.
So it's a good time to think about things, but maybe not buy the thing.
Or commit to it just yet.
Right.
Let it
And then
breathe. Okay.
exactly. Then on the 22nd, the sun enters Cap. And yeah, so last week of Sag, eat it up,
Eat it
indulge.
up. Not that Capricorn is like gonna get here and it's like, okay, we gotta
No,
be back to
Capricorn
business.
season
But
is good. It's good. It's
yes.
very
And it but I do just yeah. I've been selfishly having a little extra fun in the Sag. I've been letting the Sag
as you
vibes
should.
sort of do what they want a little bit. Yeah, I over the weekend maybe told a gentleman to get the fuck out of my way. I don't know. It's sad
Love
season.
that.
That is one little anecdote though, because I did learn that from one of my Sag besties, Maria Palacino. God bless, shouts out,
Shouts
who
out.
taught me all about like if you just don't like someone, tell them to get the fuck out of your face. And would you believe she's never been punched? And neither was I. But this
I need to
guy,
get better at that.
Heather, I'm so sorry. I was walking on the sidewalk. It's New York City. You got to be flexible
Oh,
about it.
literally. I thought that was like someone in your life that you were like, get the fuck out
Oh
of my way.
no.
But
Oh my
like literally
God.
on the
Yeah,
street.
like my boyfriend really pissed me off the other day.
Yeah,
I
I
said,
was
get the
like,
fuck out
oh.
of my face. No, just a stranger on the street completely blatantly cut me, which is it's New York City, right? So this happens all the time. You got to breathe through it. It's just like when I moved to LA and had a pep talk with myself of like, honey, if you're going to get road rage, this is just all you moved here to do then. You got to let that shit go. We got to learn to just like let that shit roll off. Same talk I had to give myself and when I moved to New York City. But this, I'm being so calm, hands in pockets. I'm looking up. This guy is looking blatantly down at his phone, walks right in front of me, stops, all while still looking down at his phone. I'm now stopped because I can't, he's blocked my path and just, I think, expected me to move. And I'm the one looking up. So I didn't. And I'm just like staring at him. And he's annoyed with me. He says, yeah, what's up? I said, and then I giggle because I'm truly
Yeah.
astounded. And I was just like, bro, do you want to get the fuck out of my way?
Holy shit. Fuck
And I remember
that.
walking away like it was just so casual and it was so good. And I don't condone violence and I don't atone or I don't condone aggression. I just will say I was taller than him. And because I was taller than him, I looked down at his phone of what had him in a trance. You know, maybe he got like a scary phone call or I always give people the benefit of the doubt. There's a lot of tourists in the area I go to a lot. So it's like I let it breathe. That's why I show
It
up
was a
15 minutes
dating
early.
app.
It was Pokemon Go.
Course. Of fucking course.
And with that, folks, love ya.
keep
That's
your
what I'm
eyes
saying.
on the heights, Sagittarius. That's a good
should have
goodbye
been an
message.
app.
Yeah, fuck off with your Pokemon Go.
Oh,
my
Pokemon
God.
Go the fuck away. And with that, love you so much, listeners.
Love
You, Heather.
so much. Infinite abundance.
Infinite abundance, bitches. Get the fuck out of my way. Bye.
Bye.